Okay, this is the third video uh, that I'd like to talk about the Winter Warden shield, how I like to personally use it. I've showed off Dark Invader, showed off Infernal Champion, and now I'm going to come to Void Awakening. Um, and so, again, like the other videos, I want to talk about a disclaimer here that there are the powers that be that want to nerf this shield um, because they feel like the infliction being one turn and the 0 turn Elevon still remaining, that it's twice as powerful, but 99% of the Elevon items in the game all have the same problem, and so I feel like it shouldn't be touched until all Elevon items are touched. But they want to take your fun away, as usual. Um, but at one point in time, these videos may be null and void as far as how effective they are. But for now, this is how I like to use it, and I actually have quite a bit of fun doing so. So moving on to Void Awakening. So as you can see, you want to start off with the shield equipped, so that way it can inflict. And then, like all these videos, you're taking advantage of Power Gauntlet and using 242. You're hitting for 242 extra damage here. Now, with Void Awakening, you have a couple ways to go. So you're going to primarily be using the Void Skull Pet, which gets 167% boost, both on the Chi Shield mode as well as the SP Heal mode. But because this armor has an Ellie lock to fire, so in this case, it's going to be 242% more damage. You can use Creature 72, you can use Pride Lord, just like the couple of the other combos that I've done. It just depends on how defensive you want to play or offensive you want to play, right? So maybe I want to play a little bit more defensive. So we're going to use Chi Shield mode, and I'm going to go ahead and use Havarti Blade to try to see if I can trigger some celerity. And then I'm going to use Optico to try to trigger some Lucky Strikes from my pet. Now, I wanted to do this on this first round to showcase a feature. So I hit pretty good damage because of the Elevon. So I'm going to be getting Chi Shield here. But I have a Chi Shield, right? So I have an 820 Chi Shield, right? Pretty good conversion because it Lucky Striked 0.07. I have some Panic Inflicted, but as you noticed, I was hit for 0 damage because of my Chi Shield. Yet the shield's status of Elevon still inflicted. So wanted to show off that it still works through barriers when being hit. I don't know whether or not that should be the case. So if I wanted just to continue stacking this idea, I could, or just like with Dark Invader, I can swap over to Tropo Shield. I already have a decent Chi Shield here, so maybe I'm actually going to kill the monster before the pet goes, but actually, let's see what happens. 540, 340. So if it hadn't killed the monster, I should have healed my SP there. So let's do one more monster, or maybe a couple, just to see how this goes. Alright, so we have some high MRM here. So what we're going to do is make sure we have Winter Warden inflicted. Repelled, so hopefully it will inflict. let's see, we have 184. So this is not a bad monster to use this with. So I'm actually going to go ahead and keep my guest on Cheese Shield mode. Maybe get some decent damage, but higher MRM, so I may miss quite a bit here. So I have a little bit of a Cheese Shield there. And again, you could just swap to Tropo Shield, get some a little bit better damage. We'll see what happens with the Void Skull here. Only landed 1 of 4 hits, but it was for 800 damage. And again, you could just come back to Winter Warden, swap him back to Chi Shield, let your creature 72 continue to lower monster offense, take 0 damage there. I still get the Elevon inflicted. Hopefully this guy will actually work. Let's see, so we did a 547 Chi Shield. We'll come back over and try to heal SP. Pretty decent damage with the Elevon, but I didn't use Tropo Shield and it was still pretty good there. So it's just kind of a back and forth between what you want to use, the Winter Warden and Tropo Shield. Again, you can use a guest that's going to help your defensive capabilities, or you could use Pride Lord for more offense. And then just rely on the Chi Shield alone here for, so maybe you use the Chi Shield here. Maybe you have the Void Skull guest, and so you use dual Void Skulls, and maybe one's doing your Chi Shield while one's attacking and healing your SP. Or if you wanted to go with the MP route and do a Mana Barrier, you could. And then you can always just swap your Void Skull for landing hits on both cases and take advantage of the Elevons. In fact, maybe we'll try that real quick and then I'll end the video. We'll see how well this does. Alright, so let's go ahead and swap out Pride Lord. Let's try to find... Let's do... I actually bought... You can do the item upgrader and swap between the SP version and MP versions, but I actually bought all of them. I just want to be able to actually have access to all of the different versions at the same time. So yeah, I spent a lot of ultra rares on it, but to me it was worth it. Alright, so let's do this. So actually he's going to focus on providing some Chi Shields, while this guy is going to be providing my SP heal and a little bit more damage with the Elevons. And so this route might work pretty well. Keep in mind, you could actually use both for your Chi Shields. I would not recommend doing it because your efficiency is going to get worse because your guest cannot Lucky Strike if you use both. But we can always see here. Let's see. Alright, so we've moved that to fire. I'm actually going to start off, since I won initiative, with Power Gauntlet. And I like to use Havarti Blade initially to... actually, I just like to use it over Independence Dagger. I'll get the extra Elevon for sure, but I think the 2 turns is actually going to wind up better. Alright, so let's see what happens here. So we're getting some Chi Shield here. actually missed that time. Some defense through the chi shield, going twice. Alright, so here we go. Some pretty decent hits here. Alright, it endured my shield's power. See what happens. Alright, so now we actually can start taking advantage. Alright, so I do have an 883, so let's go ahead and swap this guy and actually attack. And then, so now I'm going to have actually 2 turns here. So let's actually come over and use Tropo Shield and see what we can end up doing. Oh, well, goodbye, monster. Elevon power. And so, as you can see, it's not a high-level monster, obviously, but didn't do any damage to me. Let's just do one more monster and see what happens here. See what we end up pulling. Alright, so this guy's going to have an opportunity to hit me a little more, a little harder. So maybe what we do this time is we actually have my guest heal my SP, and then on the first turn, and then make sure that this guy's shield is equipped, and then we actually do my chi barrier with my pet. So I want initiative. So what I'm going to do here is heal some little bit of SP with the guest, and then do the chi barrier here. Help protect me a little better. So now we have the Elevon inflicted. So let's see, the chi was 121. So this time, let's swap him back to chi, and let's swap this guy to SP. So now that the power gauntlet worked, we have 2 turns at 242. So let's actually use Tropo Shield this turn. So as you can see, 2900 there on the Lucky Strike. The guest pet celerities triggered. As you can see, have another turn here. I'm going to actually do attack mode on both. Really good damage from the armor. And just kind of wipe the monster out with the combo. Really driving the Elebones up. The armor itself starts to do some very good damage, and then you have your pet and guest combos that start to do very good damage. And then you have 3 full resource bars at the end of the battle. And this is a fire armor versus an ice monster. Granted, this particular armor has a secondary to ice that's pretty low, as you can see, 47 there. But it's one of the reasons why Void Skull is pretty good, actually. But as you can see, very good combo. Same concepts as the other videos, but just incorporating some defense with some Elevon stacking for offense. The first video was just pure Elevons with Dark Invader relying on Pet and Guest for damage. Then the Inferno video was relying on Poison for damage. This one's just outright increasing your overall damage from the armor and Pet and Guest, so while maintaining some good defense. So that's going to be pretty much it for this video. Again, just as a reminder, the powers that be want to nerf this shield. They want to take your fun away. In the event that they actually do it, this shenanigan and this setup won't be nearly as strong as what I just showed. Thank you.